Hello and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kieran Devlin and today's session is how Nuwave tames UC complexity and delivers simplified, scalable service management. I'm delighted to be joined by Mark Bunnell, COO and co-founder of Nuwave. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Before we explore exactly how Nuwave streamlines that complexity of service management, please tell us a little bit about yourself, Mark, and your Nuwave journey.
Yeah, again, Mark Bunnell, Chief Operating Officer and co-founder here at Nuwave. So I handle all the day-to-day operations of the global business and the architecture of our iPilot software platform. I have 33 years of experience, all on the voice side of the fence. And so, I've been able to, luckily over time, learn all the different technologies, at a pace that could be digested. But starting when there was no internet or mobile phones, and I've done CLET creation, IXC builds, and network transformations between TDM to SIP and various other things. And so I think that's how iPilot became so robust, is understanding from a carrier perspective exactly the pains that the carriers go through in service delivery and automation.
Well, I think that breadth of expertise and experience positions you nicely to address today's call. And I think you outlined some of the ways the evolution of UC and service management over the decades. What would you say are some of the main challenges partners and carriers are facing around UC service management in 2025?
I really think it's the pace. If we were, say 10 years ago, the predominant system for carriers was really like a BroadWorks platform, and they were focusing all of their services and things around that. And if you had to build automation and APIs for service delivery, you only had really one platform to really deal with. But the market has spoken, right? And so the advent of Teams and Zoom and Webex and various other UC players, it's really, it's the customers driving those experiences. And so for a carrier, it's really tough for them to keep up with all of the different UC platforms that their customers want. And so, for them with, very little resources, or maybe not the dev resources, internal, they really need somebody like us who's focusing on building software around multi-UC environments and automation to help streamline their operations, but also help them keep up with all the different systems that they may have to come into contact with. It's really a lot of work, and it's a really large team required to maintain that.
And moving on to exactly what you guys offer, and as you suggested, one of Nuwave's key strengths in particular is the comprehensiveness across a single pane of glass, addressing that complexity that many organizations struggle with this year. Can you provide more detail on that, about how comprehensive you guys are against this one unified system?
Yeah, I mean, it's really has so many different layers, to what we do. I mean, not only is it multi-UC, but it's, dealing with legacy, with SIP trunks, or, being able to do migrations. It's, being able to take care of all of the different carriers that somebody may have, and dealing with coverages. So, there's so much that goes into it. And because our software has been in the market for, say, 9 years, there's a lot of customer feedback that we get from our carriers and our partners that say, these are the real world use cases that we're running up against, and can you, fix that? These are preventing adoption. And so when we see that, we instantly take a look at it and we add it to the system. And so I'd love to say that, iPilot was 100% by intelligent design, but it's really because we listen to our customers and get the feedback. And then we spend a really large amount of time in making sure that all the complexities are hidden behind the scenes, and that we present a really unified UI that's very simple for our customers to understand, that you don't have to have an engineering degree to work. And that's been really the key to success, is making a simple, unified, UI that everybody can adopt.
And naturally, as you say, we're talking about these tangible use cases, and allied to that is the tangible ROI. How would you say this simplified approach to UC service management ultimately helps customers save money in the long run?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And there's so many different ways to monetize our system, and there's so many variables to the cost of ownership. And really it weeds out all the complexity. It really makes it where you can manage, all the different pieces. And our customers tell us all the time, it's like we're paying them to use our service, because we're all about adding value. And so when we add features like Teleport, which is a major, legacy PBX migration tool, we give that tool for free. And so that goes across all of the things that we do, is that we don't nickel and dime our customers to death. We give them all these integrations, we give them these features, and we provide just added value. And so our customers love that. And it helps when, now you can have one single person kind of provision all the different services identically. We've standardized the interfaces so that all the screens and the flows are the same. So if you know how to provision one, you know how to provision all of them. So the time of training is really non-existent. But our customers really think of us as an extension of their dev team. So if they have features or integrations or things that they would love to have, they just tell us and we build it, because we have such a large dev team that we measure our time in weeks, not quarters or years, which is kind of unheard of in the industry.
And earlier you mentioned about how you guys, a lot of it was the feedback loop and your open-mindedness to really build this system over the time you've been on market. Now, of course, the underlying technology is one thing, but how important is having that depth of experience and expertise around service management to complement it and ultimately elevate it?
Well, I mean, you don't just get to wake up one day and provide software into the carrier space, right? It's a very nuanced business. There's a lot of little intricate features and things that you wouldn't know unless you have lots of decades of experience, and it's assembling a team that understands the processes. And it's about, eliminating clicks, eliminating screens where they don't need to be, right? Because a lot of times when you add features and services, that you add more screens, you add more layers, and it really the UI starts to get out of control. And so, having that knowledge and expertise to really understand the processes that are required to make those processes as simple as possible and not be, bound by what has come before. So just because it's been done a certain way for so many years doesn't mean that's the way that it should be done in the future. And so, but you're not going to understand where you can cut things out unless you have a complete understanding of the end-to-end processes and ways that people do things.
Terrific. Well, I think that's all we've got time for today, but it's been a really enjoyable session illuminating into the processes that Nuwave have with UC service management. So thank you, Mark, for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share as always on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of UC Today. Thanks for watching.